My phone vibrates on the countertop as I continue applying the moisturizer to my cheek. Send me a pic. The text is from Ryan. I roll my eyes and chuckle as I text him back. Shouldn't you be finishing up work? I put the phone down and continued my task. A minute or two later, it buzzes again. I'm gonna be a while. Before I have time to respond, another message comes through. How about some motivation to get me home quicker? I put down the jar of moisturizer and think about it. As luck would have it, I was just primed to enter the shower, so I figured, sure, why not? Hold on, I text. I remove my baggy Star Wars t-shirt and undo my blue lace bra for an optimal shot of my, well, you know. After positioning myself with my back to the window, I erect my middle finger and snap the picture. I send it to him, along with the tagline of "Hurry home." With another quick chuckle, I concluded my hygienic routine and fully undressed to enter the shower. The scalding hot water cascades down upon me as the grime of the daily grind drifts away and relaxation sets in. On the counter outside, I hear my phone buzzes once again, but think nothing of it. I sit in the shower for several minutes, allowing the comforting stream to flow down my neck and hug my body with its warmth. Again, I hear the phone buzz, and again, I ignore it. I step from the shower several minutes later and wrap a towel around me. I throw my hair into another towel and finally return to my phone. 3 missed calls, all from Ryan. Confused, I scroll down and see that I have a text from him as well. Grab the gun underneath the bed and hide. I'm calling the police. A grimace forms on my face as I read. What's got him so riled up? Nicole, answer the phone. I'm on my way. Hang tight. Another text rolls through. Thoroughly flabbergasted at the events, I text him back. What's wrong? I await a response. I decide to take another look at the pictures which had apparently so suddenly set him off. I open it, and at first I see nothing amiss. But then I see it, and my heart drops like an anvil. In the background of the image, almost blended entirely into the darkness, on the other side of the bathroom window, I see the face of a man with wide, hungry eyes and a sadistic grin. The phone falls from my grip as my hands begin to tremble. It begins to vibrate again as Ryan's name is illuminated on the screen. As I lean down to pick it up, the bathroom door creaks open behind me. He gripped the edge of his chair tightly. Trembling, he spoke. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. Go on, my child. Through the thin screen separating them, the priest could see an obscure face hanging low. So, Father, I met this girl down at the bar a while back. Her name's Valerie. You know how it goes down there, right? You slide onto the stool next to her, ask for 2 drinks, and hit her up the best way you can. I mean, she's great, tight body. Anyways, we were seeing each other for a month before she started to smell. Smell? Sounds rather crude, but what about it? Call me crazy, Father, but I've always known how to tell when a good man turns bad. It's always difficult at the start, don't get me wrong. It's like when milk just begins to sour. You don't catch the smell unless you look for it. But it always starts deep inside. A patch of rot grows right in the heart. and it spreads like cancer cells all throughout the body. Past a certain point, the smell of decay, God, it makes me gag. Well, son, I've never heard anything like this before. I don't know what this has to do with... I'm getting there, Father. I'm here to tell you, I killed her. This is not a joking matter. Who said I was? The priest looked outside the booth. The dimly lit church was empty. He was all alone. Why? How can you be sure that you're not delusional? Oh, I wish I was, Father. I was 16 when I caught a whiff of it on my dad. He always cared for us, so nice and so gentle. The smell got worse, and he nearly beat my mom to death. I smelled it on my kind old neighbor. And what do you know? The cops got him after doing things to little kids. It is my gift, and I have to make use of it. I know I have to kill them before evil takes over and drive them to do worse. But that cannot be the only way. Do you not shower when you smell stink on your skin? Why won't you pluck out the weeds before the garden becomes overgrown? There is no other way, Father. I'm sorry. A muffled pop split the air in two. The priest saw the fabric at his stomach darken and burn. 2 more pops sent him falling out of his chair and to the ground. I saw you at Mass last week, Father. You were standing very close to me. Close enough to tell. But I haven't done anything. The priest choked, struggling to hold on to what was left of his breath. But you were going to. You were going to. The voice was now steely and cold. There is no other way. I'm starting to wonder if my Uber will ever come. My battery is dwindling, and I'm standing all alone outside of a club on the edge of town. It has closed for the night, and everyone has gone home. While I wait, let me tell you what happened. So this club has gotten a new life in recent years, as a sort of revitalized hipster dive. It was once a biker bar, almost closed down after a slew of stabbings, and was reborn under new ownership. You know this kind of place. PBR and Fireball for $5. A couple of old school arcade games, a string light on a patio, American Spirit for sale in a cigarette machine. If you got $1 for every beard, glasses, and Played combo you saw, you'd walk out of here with enough money to hit one of the classier joints in town. My friends and I decided to stay until last call. The bar staff were out of there quickly as we exited, and I realized I had left my cigarettes on the back patio. I told my buddies not to wait up, and I jumped the fence, grabbed a pack, and came back out to an empty parking lot. The silence was eerie. I couldn't even hear the sound of the city. I made my way across the lot towards my car and fished my keys out of my pocket. As I got closer to the vehicle, I clicked the unlock button on my key fob. The interior dome lights slowly turned on. Did I see what I think I just saw? In the back seat, I thought I saw a shadowy figure there, but I was too far away to be sure. I instinctively clicked the lock button. The lights went out. About 20 yards away, I clicked the unlock button again, and the dome lights slowly lit up the inside. There was no mistaking it. Someone was sitting back there. The silhouette was all wrong. Clearly human of some kind, but the skull was about 50% bigger than average. The head was crooked. The eyes were white and big, like glowing ping pong balls, as the thing in my back seat smiled at me and stared. A large nose parted the veil of black wet hair that cascaded down its face. I instantly locked the door with the remote, and the car went dark. I darted my way back to the club, looking over my shoulder the entire way. Nothing followed. I was more than a little buzzed, and past experiences had led me to mistrust the police, so I decided to get home and come back during the day to get my car. Surely, this was all just my imagination. I received an alert on my phone that my driver would be arriving. The driver had long black hair, and their face was obscured in their photo. Across the parking lot, my headlights turned on. I knew there was something odd about David when I first saw him. He was a handsome guy, tall, with athletic build. The type of guy who seemed to charm everyone. Everyone seemed to like him. He was kind and witty, and people just seemed to gravitate to him. The charade he put on was convincing, but somehow I saw through it. There was just something about him that set me on edge each and every time I interacted with him. Maybe it was a sixth sense, but I always got the feeling he was hiding something. My suspicion was strengthened when I randomly caught him arriving to work one day. He closed his trunk as I pulled in and used a water bottle to wash a red liquid from his hands. I greeted him as usual, but that moment I knew for sure he was up to something nefarious. Later that week, he was alone in the lunchroom and didn't see me come in. I then caught a glimpse of what he was reading on his phone. Effects of Rohypnol. It's not a crime to just look something up, but given the context, I found it extremely unnerving. That moment substantiated everything I had sensed from him, but rather than notifying the police, I elected for a different option. I borrowed a friend's car so he wouldn't recognize me, and followed him when he clocked out on Friday. He returned to his apartment and didn't leave for the rest of the night. I staked out in the parking lot for the entire night. The following day, he finally emerged and went to his car, carrying a large duffel bag with him. I tailed him for the rest of the day as he made several stops at local hardware and convenience stores. Later that night, I followed him to a local bar and posted up outside as he went in. He returned 2 hours later with a friend. It was a young woman, and from her stumbling footsteps, it was clear she wasn't in the right state of mind. My heart began thundering in my chest, and I stepped out of the car just as he put the young woman in his back seat. He did not see me sneaking up, and before he could turn back, I slammed my bat into the back of his head. He fell to the ground, conscious but dazed beyond belief. After taking a brief look around, I dragged him to the trunk and forced him in. He looked up, seeming to recognize me. I smiled and spoke. "What are the odds, huh? Two psychopaths in the same place at once." His eyes sprung open as I wrapped him in duct tape and closed the trunk. His lady friend was out cold in the back seat. I got in the driver's seat and fired it up as my smile grew even wider. A 2-for-1 must be my lucky day. It was Jenna's idea to ditch that day. 8 of us went on our little adventure. For me, it was my first time doing anything remotely rebellious. My older sister decided she didn't feel like going to school that day. My sister was a popular senior while I was an awkward freshman. I was brought mostly because Jenna worried I would snitch. Sad, I know, but I thought I was so cool at that time. So there we were, 5 seniors, 2 juniors, and 1 freshman, brought out of pity. All in Travis's car. We were going to go to the woods behind the school and hang out there all day. Travis was driving carefully, but I wish he wasn't. I wish the cops caught us. I wish we crashed. I wish we were crippled or killed. But we weren't. We got to the woods just fine. The rest of the day was pretty normal too. Amy brought lunch for all of us. We played truth or dare, and I was targeted the most. Carter gave out the worst dares, and being the youngest, I was targeted. I wish something came out of the woods and chased us out. I wish that hiker we hid from were suspicious and noticed we were all in school uniforms. I wish our sandwiches had poison in them. I wish I fell out of the tree Lana dared me to climb, splitting my head open. But he didn't. We went back to town just fine. Back to a town that was not ours. When we went back to school, the building was a completely different style. The uniforms were different than the ones we were wearing. Jenna's car was gone, and my mom came to pick us up. She never did that before. My mother looked completely different. It didn't even register she was my mom. My father was dead, apparently after I was born. Oh, and I had another sister, a twin sister. My room was completely different. I was apparently a competitive dancer, and I played on the tennis team. I did neither. None of my friends existed. I had a new set of friends that I had never met. My name was different. Our last name was Gardner, not Jones like it was. Jenna's name was Lizzie now. I also had a black and white cat called Tuxedo. We tried telling people. We tried getting back. We tried ditching school and going back to those woods. None worked. We've tried to enjoy our new life. I do like my new sister and my cat, and my friends are nice. But I'm not myself, and I will never be. I've forgot so much the longer I stay here. I don't even remember my old name. The only concrete thing I have of that life is the uniform I was wearing. I feel like a stranger, a poser. I will always be a stranger. I wonder if my old parents and my friends miss us, or if they remember us at all. Maybe they're gone too. I don't know. Please, for the love of God, stay in school. I had been an insomniac as long as I could remember, and as an insomniac, sleeping has always been a problem. I would constantly stay up all night, leaving me tired and dreary all day. This, along with anxiety and slight bout of depression, made for terrible school grades. Mom begged me to go to a psychiatrist to get it sorted out, but I was sure it would go away soon, and it did. I remember the first time I slept for more than an hour. It was the first time I forgot to take some pills Mom had been giving me since I was 4. Had she been causing the insomnia? I brushed it off as a serious inquiry because I knew that she wouldn't do that to me. I proceeded to go to school after telling Mom I got some sleep. She seemed surprised, as I thought she would. "You're taking your pills, right?" Yeah, 2 at night, every night." "Good. glad to see they're working. I wave her goodbye and go to school. For the first time, I managed to stay completely awake in class. My grades improved with every day, as did my sleeping habits. I had managed to get a 5-hour sleep the night before, that I could only assume felt like heaven. Ever since I stopped taking those pills, I felt alive, free from the ball chain of sleep deprivation that I had vowed never to take the pills again. One night, before going to bed, I heard something downstairs, a muffled conversation. I creeped down to find Mom on the phone. He's starting to fall asleep. This was followed by a short pause. Yes, doctor, I'll double the dosage. Another pause. I understand. Goodbye. I creep upstairs again without alerting Mom and crawl into bed. What was she talking about? Were those pills really the reason I couldn't sleep? Why? I didn't need long to answer that question. For the first time, in the middle of the night, I woke up to a howling wind. I stayed up for a while, watching the trees swaying. That's when I noticed it. It was only a shadow, barely a shadow, more of a silhouette on the moonlight's grass. Its shoulders were right angles and its arms went down to his knees. It was a statue, barely moving in the wind, and I could feel it staring at me. Then it turned its head. A long beak emerged from the shadow of the torso. The beak was huge. It began moving towards me. I could see it getting bigger. It didn't seem to step, but glide over the grass to my house as it spoke.
I come when you sleep and hunt when you wake.
Mom kept me awake to protect me. That was the last thought that crossed my mind before seeing pearly white teeth.